Folks, I am excited for what's to come because we have Marcus Roman, a client, a heck of a good guy, part of Floor to Ceiling. This guy's kind of connected everywhere, and yet we have a story to tell. So good morning, Marcus.
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm really well. Marcus, how's the last year been for you? I'll tee it up that way.
A roller coaster, interesting, but success at the end, so that's the key.
Well, true story. Let's rewind back to January 2016. It was a magical time. January 2016, you decide that you want to sell your house in North Moorhead.
Correct.
Tell us about your property, first of all, because it is unique and awesome.
Yeah, it's out in the country. It's about 4 miles north of Dilworth, Minnesota, and it's actually an old farmstead. Mm-hmm. So the original house, built back in the early 1900s, is there, and then they built a larger house on it right next to it. Only about 50 feet away. That's the house that we lived in.
Okay.
So we lived in the big house with the family of 3, and for 15 some years now. Mm-hmm. And then we rented out the original house. We fixed it up nice and rented it out. So, but the property also has 10 grain bins on it, so we would use the grain bins for income. Lots of farmers that want to store their grain, and obviously this is the right area to do that because the crops and farming's been pretty good, and it also had a large pole barn on it, so 13 acres. Out in the country, it's where we wanted to be. And
you're leaving out my favorite part of your property.
The favorite part?
Yeah, my favorite part. You had like a 3 or 4 or 5 hole golf course, didn't you?
Yes. Yes, we. My late wife would tell you that I was obsessed with golf. So a number of years ago when we first bought the property, Village Green was actually taking out a couple of their golf holes. They were changing some things out. So they let me and my children and about 27 of their friends come over and take all the green grass from the green. So we planted that out at what we call the ranch.
Right.
And we put 4 different greens. We had 9 different tee boxes in those little practice facility, and try to keep it growing as long as possible. And because it's a little different care for the grass, but it was lots of fun. So.
Marcus, there's not a lot of properties like that around.
No.
Okay, so you're 4 miles outside of town.
Yep.
Not far at all. In fact, probably faster for you to get some places than it is for folks who are living in town and in the heart of it.
Yes.
So 13 acres, 9 holes, 9 tee boxes,
yes.
yeah.
Yep.
9-hole golf course, 2 houses,
Yep.
13 grain bins.
10 grain bins.
10 grain bins.
Yep.
I'm sorry,
Yep.
I'm getting so excited.
Yeah.
All this on one property.
One property.
What a cool place.
It was. I mean, it was a really cool place to live.
But you decided it was time to move.
Yep. 2 older ones are gone on. My youngest is graduating this year, and I lost my wife to cancer, and then so it was just too much for me and the little one to take care of. And of course, she didn't want to get on the mower and help me out with anything like that. And mowing, 8+ acres of grass was about what it was. Got to be quite a challenge. So
there were emotional pains, there were literal pains because of so much space, and it was time for a fresh start, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So how in the world did you end up working with Hatch Realty?
Well, we had worked with a couple of realtors in the past. We had done a lot of research on it, my oldest daughter and myself. And it was one of those properties, one of those situations where we just felt, you had mentioned it earlier, the marketing was the most important thing because it was so unique. We were going to have to find a very unique buyer.
Yeah.
And obviously Hatch Realty is the one that's making the moves in the marketplace. We knew that. We for sure. So we went right to what we felt was the best. And from that marketing perspective, not just the fact that you guys obviously were everybody else is at, but would take maybe an extra couple of steps to help us find a very unique buyer, and we did.
So January we started talking of 2016. Is that right?
Yep.
Your house hits the market April 2016, right?
Exactly.
So we talked about it. We wanted to make sure that the weather was right to show off the great yard that you have, to get everything in line. How long did it take until we got an accepted offer on your house?
Well, that's the unique.
Yes, it
the
sure
experience
is.
itself was unique as well. So what was funny is we got an offer 9 days in.
Yeah.
In fact, I even mentioned to Rob that I said, well, it looks like we could be one of your poster childs, for the. And he had mentioned to us when we listed the property, he said, well, you have one of these properties that we could either find that buyer right away and it's going to be great, or it could take us a long time. So, and in the end, it actually did both.
Yeah. Well, it did. So that buyer, after 9 days, said yes, they want it, and then what happened?
Well, then our beloved banking industry got involved, and the guys are, they have to do their jobs. They're very regulated now, as everybody knows. And like I said, the problem with that property is the financing part of it.
Yep.
Back in the day when I bought it, there was a lot of different farm programs available. There's a lot of different creative sources for mortgages and things like that. So it was easier for us to basically create 2 mortgages because you had to buy each house separately. Well,
Right.
So our buyer ran into that and had to do some things, and it took a while. But at the end of the day, it was the same buyer that ended up getting this thing done. So
It took 12 months to close that property,
12
right?
months, yep.
What was your experience like? I mean, we talked about the emotional baggage that came with this and the stress and everything else. How were you doing with that, and how did we show up through that?
Well, you guys were the stress relievers, in my opinion. I mean, yes, obviously the trauma of trying to get the next step here and the next step there, whatever it might be. But, I would go to Rob, do the research, he'd come back with answers quickly, let us know what was going on and what had to happen next. And during this whole time, still marketed the property, still
Yep.
lots of people that looked at the property. We had a couple of interim people that were very, very interested, but it just didn't work out. And in the end, it was, the banking industry. And I think you guys, everybody all worked together to try and come up with a way to finance it and get it done. So.
Well, the delay in closing was simply out of our hands, right?
Exactly.
But the service that shows up, because here's what happens, Marcus, and we're going to go to break here in just a minute, but we're going to have you back. What happens in this industry quite often is that a home will sell simply because we're in a good market, right? Sometimes you can put a sign in the yard and put it on the MLS and pray that it sells, and magically the house sells. But what happens between that time when the contract is accepted and when the closing actually happens is where deals are really won and lost, and where emotions are so tied to it. And I'm glad to hear that we were able to show up for you and to get it done, regardless of the financial complications with it. But Marcus, you are part of the Florida Ceiling family, one of the owners, and I want to learn about your business. So we're going to come back from break and learn about all the things happening right now in home, remodel, decor, building, all the things in between. So folks, head to livefargomoorhead.com right now at the break to find out what your home is worth. This is Real Estate Radio with Erik Hatch. Welcome back to Real Estate Radio. As always, I'm your host, Erik Hatch, and in studio with us, we still have a Hatch Realty client and the owner of Florida Ceiling. We'll make sure that you are, I'll know you're one of the owners, so the other guys don't get ticked off.
Yeah, there you
right?
go. Yeah.
There it is. Marcus Roman, great to have you still with us. We talked in our first segment of you selling your house, the crazy ride that it had, but yet the wonderful result that we had at the end.
Exactly.
And again, thank you for choosing Hatch Realty and giving us a chance to work with you and for you. And now you've returned the favor to me.
I was going to say.
My wife and I just completed a remodel. Well, we're still in it. We're still in it. It doesn't seem to ever end. But we just completed a remodel project on our house. Kitchen, bath, got a couple really great things done. And wouldn't you know, we landed at Florida Ceiling.
Nice. Thank you.
Oh gosh, what is the process like if you're Erik and Emily Hatch, or if you're Joe Blow from the community and you want to do a remodel on your house? Do we have to go out and hire a general contractor and all those other things, or can we come right to you?
You come right to us. That's one of the things. Our business model is based on, we want to sell you cabinets and flooring, countertops and window treatments, but also the thing that we offer that goes with that package of products is our services, our design services, our installation services. And yes, we have remodels that work with us that coordinate the entire project. That's the idea, is that we come in, we'll even consult with you on the lighting and the plumbing. We don't do those, but we help coordinate those. So the whole idea behind the business model is that you can come into us, we can be the coordinator of your project, we can work with all these different trades to get it done. Remodeling can be quite the experience, as you know.
Preach, brother, yeah.
Oh my goodness, yeah. So there's just so many things that, so having a coordinator involved, someone that you can call, same kind of thing like we had with you guys, is to say, well, what's going on with this, what's going on with that? And that's the key. In our store, it's not just that the initial designer, the salesperson that you're dealing with, and they also have a cabinet design department that they deal with to help you on the cabinet end. We have an installation department that they deal with to get all the products installed professionally and guaranteed, that type of thing. So
I think that's one of the fears, Marcus, for people, is if they're thinking about a remodel or a new build or whatever it may be, most everyone doesn't want to be a general contractor. At least they want to have say in everything and control of everything. But when it comes down to it, and my wife and I are the same way, is, I mean, I'm in the industry, and so I'm connected, and I can work with my friends, right? But when it comes down to it, the amount of scrupulous details that are
Yes.
in every one of those projects is painful, isn't it?
It is. And the thing is that when you have a connection of suppliers that work with you for the customer, then you're the focus. You know, it's
Yeah.
not the general contractor. You know, God love them. We all work with them, obviously builders as well. But the idea is that they have a lot of projects going on. Your project is the only one that's going on for that designer, so they can focus on what's going on with that, with your job and the ins and the outs of it, and get you through it. And so at the end, it's a product that you're going to look at and say, oh my goodness, this is my hard-earned money, and this is what I bought, and you go, wow, that's what we look for. And we don't accomplish it every time, but I can tell you this, that one thing unique about our store is our customers keep calling us, and we keep doing what has to be done until they're happy. It's just, and that's what we offer, and it's worked for going on 5 decades now. So
Well, I think you're doing some great good. I got to give you some props. You have 2 gals that work with you, Becky Knutson and Shannon Simon, and they've been our right-hand gals through this project. We work with Chris Hawley Architects for our remodel, and then we're working with Floor to Ceiling as well. And the energy that they brought to it has been fantastic, and the gifts of insight and decoration and
Yep.
everything that they can do is really exquisite. But I gotta share this with you, Marcus. I don't know if you know this happened, but my wife and I lived in our basement all winter. 5 months we lived in our basement while our upstairs got remodeled. And a week before we were moving back upstairs, we had a toilet malfunction.
Oh, boy.
And we had water pouring into our basement from our upstairs. Don't know if the kids threw something down the toilet or who knows what.
Oh,
but
my.
all of a sudden, now I'm living with my mother-in-law for a couple of weeks. We have to gut the only part of the house that we're actually living in, right? And we call on Floor to Ceiling, and we call on your gals, and they instantly jump to it. This was just a couple of weeks ago, and right now that bathroom is getting like rebuilt today.
perfect. Sounds good.
The speed in which you responded, the diligence in which you responded, and the grace in which you responded were fantastic to work with.
Appreciate that.
And no, I appreciate it because I just want to live in my house, man. Like,
Exactly.
without toilet
Yes.
water everywhere. And
Yeah.
I wanna be comfortable there.
Well, one of the things that I've been blessed with my entire career is just the best people that a person could ever ask for. All of my employees, have been just fantastic to work with. So that's a real blessing for us.
Well, I'm glad that we've been able to scratch each other's backs, and it was unintentional too. I'll be honest. I landed at your doorstep because we knew Shannon and Becky, and they spoke just such great things of you. And so that's how I found out about you. As we did our research, and we had a great relationship, and you did your research on us.
Exactly.
And found out, and that was really great. And so now we have a great partnership and kinship, and we're gonna get friendship bracelets when this is done. Marcus. It's gonna be great.
That sounds good.
Folks, if you have the chance or the opportunity, Floor to Ceiling Carpet One, just off of the Main Avenue exit and the frontage road on the east side of I-29.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep.
I don't know if I described that right, but
That's perfect, yeah.
Thank you very much. I do radio for a living.
There you go.
1 hour a week for a half hour.
All right.
Which is actually 19 minutes. Yeah, it's really
Yep,
great. So, Marcus, thanks so very much, folks. Head to livefargomoorhead.com to see the houses on today's market.